What is going on, my friends? It is Anthony here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be checking out the Ibanez 7321. So for those of you that know me, you guys are aware that I've talked about this guitar in the past, a few years back. So I'm not going to talk about the story and rehashing that, but I will give you guys somewhat of a refresher because I have changed a few things and updated a few things on this guitar since then. But ultimately, the whole premise of this video is to see if this guitar is still aging well today, and is it still relevant, and is it still a good option for a budget 7-string for the modern day guitar player. That's kind of like where I want to get at with this review. So I'm just going to cut right to the chase with the specs that we have here. We have a rosewood fingerboard. We have 24 frets. We have a volume and a tone, 5-way switch. We also have the classic 7-in-line Ibanez headstock design. We have what appears to be a 5-piece neck. I'm not sure if that's maple and rosewood, but we also got a string-through body and a 4 bolt-on neck. So I normally would ask myself, like, what are my first impressions of this guitar? But I don't really feel like it's genuine or authentic for me to say what my first impressions are when I've had this guitar for over 10 years. But just for the sake of this video, I'll give you guys, a brief little description of a few things without giving away my full final thoughts. I'll just start off by saying that the neck is very comfortable. It's a nice wizard type of thin Ibanez neck like you would expect. The fret access is amazing. Getting to the 24th fret with ease is not a problem. You don't have to work too hard to really get there or to bend up. It's really nice in that way. And all the mods that I've had done with it really brought this thing to life even more than what it was before, from the tuning stability, the sound, and just the overall performance. But overall though, I do want to show you guys what this guitar sounds like. So what I'm going to be doing for the demo clips is I'm going to be plugging this into my 2-Notes Torpedo Captor, and I will be plugging into my PV 6505 Plus over here, and we're going to hear this thing rip, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think, how it sounds. Wow, this is a really fun guitar to play, even to this very day. I really like the tones that I was demonstrating for you guys and just the overall vibe that I was feeling as I was recording those demo clips for you guys. That being said, we're going to now move on to the pros and cons before I give you my final thoughts. So for this list, I'm going to start out with the cons just because I think it makes more sense in context before we move on to the pros. And I have to call out the first con, and I'm reviewing this kind of in a way, making up this list as if this guitar was bone stock from the factory or just the way it initially came. So the first con that I do want to talk about is if you are getting one of these and it has just the stock Ibanez pickups, I'm just letting you know right now that you will definitely need to change the pickups on this. Hence why I changed them out to the bare knuckle brute force. The stock Ibanez pickups are very muddy. They're not articulate. They are not fun at all. And they really, I mean, I'm sure you can, with some tweaking and stuff, you can make them work for you. But at the end of the day, they're really not great pickups and they're more on the mediocre side. So if you do get one of these, definitely change out the pickups like ASAP as soon as you can, realistically speaking. The second con that I do have to point out as well, and I don't think this should go undercover or be swept under the rug by any stretch of means. I do understand that this is not an expensive guitar, and that's perfectly reasonable. I just want to educate you guys that if you are going to get one of these, definitely change the bridge too, because the stock bridge has these bolts on it that are literally like above the saddle, and they can only go down or up so much, and they're not like recessed inside to where they're not out of your way. So when you put your palm on the stock bridge, they will dig into your wrist, and it makes playing the guitar bone stock very uncomfortable. So I would say your first priority, if you're getting this guitar, swap out the pickups and get a hip shot bridge, or just get a better bridge on it for sure. The third con I do want to talk about, and this is more on the minor side, even with all the improvements I've made to it, there's still like a slight hair of tuning stability on the low B, in this case the low G sharp, because I'm in drop G sharp, where it does slip out ever so slightly here and there, but nothing like it was ever since I did the things I did. But just make sure if you get one of these that you may have to replace the hardware here and the tuners itself. I would say if I had to nitpick, try to replace the nut too, but really and truthfully, you might be fine with just the stock nut. But again, I'm just kind of splitting hairs for you guys. Now that we got the negatives and the cons out of the way, I want to talk about the pros of this instrument. So the first pro being that it's very affordable. One thing I actually forgot to mention on the discontinued list, though, is that this is a discontinued model that they no longer make. But because it is an affordable model, however, I do see these pop up on the used market for around 250 to 300 bucks. If you could snag one for around that price and somebody already did some mods on it, that person's loss is now your gain, and I say absolutely take advantage of it. The second pro being that the guitar is naturally very resonant, so it has a very full and thick sound when you palm mute or chug. It's very resonant overall, and you'll notice when you plug it in. The other thing too is the neck is super comfortable, whether you're doing leads or you're doing riffs or you're just chugging, playing zeros and ones all day. It just gets the job. I mean, like I've said earlier, the build quality is really great. The upper fret access is great. Really and truthfully, I mean, you really can't go wrong with this guitar. And I think that really and truthfully sums it up for the pros. So with all that said and done with the pros and cons, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 guitar picks. This is a very solid workhorse, and whether you're somebody that just wants to get started on a 7-string, or you're a working professional and you want something that's not going to break the bank but that's still going to be reliable, and that's still going to really take a beating out on the road. Even if you just wanted this to be your road dog for touring, I say absolutely go for it. If all you need is a fixed bridge and 2 humbuckers, really and truthfully for a 7, it really does the job. I mean, even if you're somebody that where this is your first 7-string like it was for myself, even if you do have to put some work into it, like in terms of like upgrading the pickups and the bridge and maybe the tuners and the nut, even if you do have to, eventually will have to do those things if you want this to be a keeper, I do think in terms of longevity that it is worth it, because you're getting so much use out of it, and it really is good for, I think, all levels. I think this guitar aged absolutely well, and I think it's a timeless 7-string that will never go out of style, and for very good reason. Definitely pick one up if you can. It's a shame that they don't make this exact 7321 model anymore, but definitely pick one up. And if you can find one for around 200, maybe 300 bucks, and somebody already changed a pickup or two, or changed out the bridge or whatever they had to do, you are already eliminating some of the costs on yourself. So definitely pick one of these up. This aged tremendously for a budget 7-string, and I still think it holds up to today's standards in the budget guitar community to this very day. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all of you for commenting and subscribing. I'm Anthony DeFilio, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.